15 years prior, the global outbreak of the ALZ-113 virus, commonly referred to as the simian flu, resulted in the emergence of highly intelligent apes. Caesar, the leader of these apes, had strived to maintain harmony between his kind and humans. However, a traitor named Koba initiated a new era of conflict. Presently, Caesar and his group are seeking refuge within a command center located in the Muir Woods, while a merciless colonel from the military faction Alpha Omega is determined to capture them. Consequently, humans and apes find themselves embroiled in a full-scale war. A group of soldiers quietly traverse the forest in search of the apes. Assisting the soldiers is an ape named Red, who is commonly referred to as Donkey. Red and another ape, who remains loyal to Koba, keep watch over the command base. The soldiers initiate their assault on the base by opening fire, but the apes respond with remarkable strength, launching spears and shooting at the soldiers from horseback. Eventually, Red and a few surviving soldiers are taken captive. However, Caesar decides to spare their lives and releases them unharmed, intending to convey the message of ape peacefulness. Meanwhile, Red manages to escape Winter's grasp and swiftly returns to the camp. Caesar's son, Blue Eyes, returns to his family and reunites with his mate, Lake. Caesar is also reunited with his wife, Cornelia, and their youngest son, Cornelius. Together with their companions, Caesar and his friends engage in a discussion about a plan to relocate the clan from the forest to a new dwelling. During the night, while the apes are asleep, a group of Alpha Omega soldiers led by Colonel McCullough stealthily approach the command base. Although the soldiers are eventually eliminated, McCullough manages to shoot and fatally wound Cornelia and Blue Eyes, originally intending to kill Caesar. Discovering his family's lifeless bodies, Caesar leaps after McCullough as he escapes through a waterfall. McCullough deliberately severs the rope, causing Caesar to plummet. Upon returning to his base, Caesar instructs the other apes to search for Cornelius, his son. Fortunately, Caesar locates Cornelius unharmed. He entrusts his son's well-being to Lake and sets out to locate McCullough, while the remaining apes embark on their journey toward the desert in search of a new home. Accompanied by Maurice, Rocket, and Luca, Caesar intends to undertake his mission alone. However, his loyal companions refuse to be left behind, insisting on accompanying him to ensure their leader's protection. Despite Caesar's initial refusal, they persist in their determination to stand by his side. The four primates stumble upon a military encampment where they discover Winter. Winter, who had switched sides to join the humans after Red promised him safety in exchange for letting Red escape, unwittingly revealed the ape's location to McCullough. Caesar proceeds to interrogate Winter, extracting vital information that McCullough and his army are planning to move towards a nearby border. Sensing the humans' proximity, Caesar silences Winter by placing his hand over his mouth, rendering him unconscious. During the night, Caesar experiences a harrowing nightmare involving Koba, who appears bloodied and bearing even more scars than before. Koba repeats his final words to Caesar, emphasizing the importance of apes refraining from harming one another. Ape not kill ape. As the apes press forward, they come across a lone man who attempts to shoot them, but Caesar acts swiftly, killing him first. They enter the man's dwelling and discover a young girl, later named Nova, lying in bed. Although visibly frightened, Maurice tenderly offers her a doll. Nova attempts to communicate but finds herself unable to do so. Despite Caesar's insistence that they cannot take her along, Maurice feels compelled not to abandon her in that place. The group, consisting of the apes and Nova, traverses the snowy mountains. Along the way, they stumble upon the lifeless bodies of 3 soldiers who were shot in the snow. One soldier remains barely alive, though his condition is rapidly deteriorating. Caesar inquires about the reason behind the attack, but the soldier, much like Nova, is unable to utter a word. Recognizing the soldier's imminent demise, Maurice points out the futility of his suffering, prompting Caesar to mercifully end his pain. While exploring the surroundings, the apes witness a peculiar sight, a small creature donning a jacket who pilfers a rifle and one of the horses. Determined, the apes give chase until they successfully corner the mischievous creature within an abandoned building. It turns out to be a diminutive ape, affectionately called Bad Ape. Recognizing Nova's discomfort, Bad Ape kindly offers her his jacket to keep warm. Similar to Caesar, Bad Ape possesses the ability to communicate through speech. He reveals that he once resided in a zoo prior to the outbreak of the simian flu, and his name originated from the derogatory term humans used to label him. As an act of goodwill, Bad Ape provides the group with food containers marked California Border. Inquisitive, Caesar inquires about the origin of the food, to which Bad Ape explains that it was sourced from a human zoo, which essentially functions as a quarantine camp. Upon reaching the military camp, the apes find themselves under attack by a soldier. In a valiant act, Luca manages to eliminate the soldier but suffers grave injuries in the process. With his final breaths, Luca assures Caesar that he was able to protect him this time, evoking a sense of sadness even in Nova, who had experienced his kindness before. Caesar expresses his regret to the others, explaining that this is precisely why he wanted to undertake the mission alone. Maurice offers a sobering observation, cautioning Caesar that his growing animosity towards the colonel is leading him down a path reminiscent of Koba's. Under the cover of darkness, Caesar ventures toward the camp alone, only to discover two captive apes suspended on a mountain ledge overlooking the compound. One of the imprisoned apes informs Caesar that their entire clan has been captured and coerced into forced labor. In a sudden turn of events, Red emerges behind Caesar and incapacitates him by striking him with the rifle butt. When Caesar regains consciousness, he finds himself face to face with McCullough. Seizing the opportunity, Caesar confronts McCullough, accusing him of perpetrating the murder of his own family. McCullough offers a hollow apology, insincerely admitting that he had intended to end Caesar's life. Caesar and his fellow captured apes are compelled to toil alongside each other, their efforts supervised by the humans. In a separate enclosure, Caesar spots his son Cornelius and Lake, the young ape, desperately calling out for his father. Despite their dire circumstances, suffering from starvation and dehydration, the apes are coerced into constructing a formidable wall. The cruelty escalates when Red mercilessly whips one of the apes, prompting Caesar to intervene and implore him to cease the abuse. In an act of punishment, Caesar endures the whip in the place of the other ape. Meanwhile, McCullough demands that Caesar instruct his fellow apes to continue working, even as Caesar pleads for the provision of sustenance. In a harrowing display, McCullough takes the life of one ape and prepares to execute more, yet Lake and the remaining apes persist with their labor, driven by their loyalty to Caesar. Under the watchful gaze of Red and the soldier known as Preacher, Caesar is escorted in chains to McCullough's office. Once again, Caesar implores the colonel to provide the apes with food and water, emphasizing the absence of mercy in McCullough's actions. The colonel retaliates, accusing Caesar of arriving with the intent to assassinate him. However, Caesar contends that he did exhibit mercy by sparing the lives of McCullough's soldiers. McCullough proceeds to disclose a tragic revelation: his own son served as a soldier within his ranks until he too succumbed to the simian flu, resulting in the loss of his ability to speak, alongside other afflicted soldiers. Recognizing their regression into a primitive state, McCullough made the agonizing decision to end his son's life, as well as those of the affected soldiers. He further elucidates that the construction of the wall serves as a defense against an imminent military force intent on quelling his radicalized faction. While the captured apes, excluding Caesar, are provided with food and water, Caesar remains deprived of sustenance. Once again, he experiences a haunting hallucination of Koba, who implores him to join forces. Meanwhile, in the distance, Maurice, Rocket, Bad Ape, and Nova cautiously observe the events unfolding within the camp. Nova ventures into the camp, bravely approaching Caesar's cage, offering him nourishment, water, and the cherished doll previously gifted by Maurice. As the soldiers draw near, fearful for Nova's safety, Rocket selflessly becomes a diversion to allow her to escape. Unfortunately, the soldiers capture Rocket, and McCullough retrieves the bloodstained doll left behind by Nova. Undeterred by the risks, Maurice and Bad Ape devise a plan to infiltrate the camp by utilizing an underground tunnel. They diligently dig their way through but halt their progress upon encountering a water source, concerned that it may cause flooding within the tunnel. Taking precautions, they manage to seal off that section to prevent potential inundation. Caesar and Rocket join forces to devise a plan for rescuing the captive ape children. Simultaneously, Maurice and Bad Ape continue their tunnel excavation towards the camp. Rocket creates a diversion by flinging feces at one of the guards, distracting them while Bad Ape pulls Rocket underground. Seizing the opportunity, the apes successfully extract the children from their confinement and navigate through the tunnel, escaping the clutches of the camp. Caesar experiences a heartwarming reunion with his son, Cornelius, embracing him tightly. Just before departing, Caesar confesses to Rocket that he recognizes the similarities between himself and Koba as he struggles to let go of his deep-rooted hatred for the Colonel. Determined to fulfill his mission, Caesar heads back towards McCullough's office. As tension mounts, the rival military force initiates an assault on the camp, launching rockets at the soldiers who retaliate with gunfire. Meanwhile, Caesar reaches McCullough's office, only to discover the Colonel inebriated and rendered voiceless, much like Caesar himself. Realizing the futility of their exchange, Caesar seizes a firearm. In a moment of intense confrontation, McCullough grabs Caesar's hand, guiding the gun to his own head, seemingly ready for Caesar to pull the trigger. However, Caesar cannot bring himself to take that final step. In a startling turn of events, McCullough snatches the gun from Caesar's grasp and ends his own life with a self-inflicted gunshot to the head. Amidst the chaos and the apes' escape, Caesar strives to reunite with his companions. Determined, he seizes a belt of grenades and aims to hurl one at a fuel tank leaking its volatile contents. However, his intentions are thwarted when he is struck by an arrow shot by Preacher. In this critical moment, Red witnesses the impending danger and turns against the humans. He fires a grenade at Preacher, saving Caesar from certain demise. Tragically, Red's act of redemption comes at the cost of his own life, as he is shot dead by a soldier. With unwavering determination, Caesar seizes the dropped grenade and fulfills his mission, obliterating the tank and engulfing the entire facility in a devastating explosion. Caesar manages to make his escape through the tunnel just as the explosion engulfs the camp. Reuniting with the other apes, Caesar finds himself amidst the jubilant cheers of the remaining militants celebrating the downfall of Alpha Omega's camp. However, some soldiers spot Caesar and prepare to open fire, poised to eliminate him. Suddenly, an avalanche thunders down, changing the course of events. Caesar and the other apes swiftly ascend to safety of the trees while the avalanche decimates the remaining soldiers, ensuring their escape. With their arduous journey continuing, the apes and Nova press forward until they finally arrive at a new land, a place where the apes find solace and contentment. Caesar and Maurice observe the apes reveling in their newfound freedom, but Maurice notices the gravity of Caesar's arrow-inflicted wound. Aware of his impending demise, Caesar confides in Maurice, entrusting him with the crucial task of safeguarding Cornelius, his beloved son. Maurice assures Caesar that Cornelius will be raised with the knowledge of who his father was and the sacrifices he made for their family. Fulfilled by this reassurance, Caesar peacefully passes away, his legacy living on in the hearts of his fellow apes. The end. Thank you for watching this movie recap. I hope you enjoyed it and gained a better understanding of the plot. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and leave a comment down below with your thoughts. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more movie recaps and other content. Your support helps us continue to create great videos like this one. Thank you again, and we'll see you at the next one.